Hey, English students, how are you? Mr. Williamson here, sitting on the couch, recording a video with some bad lighting. I miss you guys. I will be back in class this coming up week, but it won't be Monday, unfortunately. So, as hopefully you know, I have some appointments with my daughter, so I had to take Monday off too. But I wanted to just quickly go over what you're expected to do. Those of you who are going to be remote on Monday. Those of you who are going to be in class on Monday, I have a sub set up and you'll get a paper copy of the assignments. But those of you who will be remote, I just want to go over the things I would like you to do since I won't be running a Zoom. Okay, can't run a Zoom on Monday, so in place of that, I need you to do these things. Number one, I will post on Canvas a Google form for you. I'll also send out an email about it. But the Google form will just be for those students who are remote on Monday to check in for attendance purposes. So you just need to click on that Google form, and there'll be a couple questions for you. You just complete that, and that will be your attendance. As far as the assignments go, if you go into, excuse me, our module for the week of February 22nd through February 26th, you'll see something called 222 English Work Packet. Okay, 222 English Work Packet. Click on that, and that will be, you'll see the reading that we're going to do. Well, actually, it's everything you're going to need to do in there. Okay, it includes the Unit 7 practice, and it includes the reading for the Odyssey to Return Home, and it has questions. This also has a video summary and analysis of the chapter that we're reading for the Odyssey, which is called The Return Home. So you could watch that. The vocabulary words are embedded here, and I'm going to go over those with you in a minute. The video summaries and analysis are right there, and the actual activity is right there. First, I wanted to just run through the words with you. So let me make this bigger for you. And here we go. So these are Unit 7 words. As you know, last week there was no homework for Unit 6, so you don't have to worry about that. But there will be homework for Unit 7. So just do the normal homework for vocabulary homework as you usually do. Unit 6, there was a test, Odyssey test, and a Unit 6 test that I posted on Canvas last Friday. That's going to be open through the end of the month, so just be sure you get that done at some point. All right, so for Unit 7, here we go. What is going on with Unit 7? First word we have is derive, which is a verb. It means to have something as a source, to come from something. For instance, many words, and it should say many words, not many word. Apologize about that. I'll have to fix that. Many words in the English language derive their meaning from Latin and Greek words, meaning many English words come from other words, particularly Latin and Greek. Apathy, that's a noun. It's an abstract noun. It just means a lack of interest or concern, like you don't care. It's the opposite of empathy. Example, if you have apathy towards your schoolwork, your grades will suffer as a result. So that's apathy. A is Latin for not or without, and path means feeling or to feel. So if you put A and P and path together like that, it technically means like to not feel. So there you go. Empathy is the opposite of apathy. It means sensitivity to the experiences of others. It's like, excuse me, you do care. You do care if you have empathy. Example, my mother has empathy for the homeless, so she volunteers at the shelter. My mother cares. Okay. She is sensitive to the experiences of others. So there you go. Those are the first three words. Next one is abridge. It's a verb, an action. It means to reduce in scope or to diminish. For example, my teacher told me to abridge my research paper because it was too long. So it means my teacher told me to make it shorter, make it smaller. That's what abridge means. Commercial. All right, now we're talking the adjective form of commercial here. I know a commercial could be a noun, like I watched a commercial on TV, but the adjective form means relating to an interchange of goods. I think it'll make more sense when you see it in a sentence. The two businessmen meant to finalize a commercial transaction. Meant they were doing business, they're doing an exchange. Like usually, anytime you go in to buy something, that's a commercial transaction. I give you give you money for a product or a service, and you give me the product or service. That is an interchange of goods. Commercial. Lucid, adjective, readily understood, clear. Okay, so I try to speak in a lucid manner. I'm not sure I always do it, but that's my goal. Same with like when I try to create instructions for lessons. I'm hoping that my instructions are lucid. Student gave a lucid and thorough presentation in class to the class. Gave a clear presentation, easily understood. Lucid. Oh, look at the boy Zeus. Oh, I'm tired. Long weekend. Look at him. So what could this be? I bet it's supernatural. Oh, I guessed it right. Supernatural means is an adjective, means forces beyond the laws of nature. We've talked a bit about that with reading the Odyssey, right? Mythology focuses on supernatural beings like gods, goddesses, and monsters. So that is supernatural. Next one is snub. Snub is a verb, means to rebuff, to ignore. Okay? Think about snob. If somebody is a snob, they might ignore you, they might if somebody's like acting snobby, yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. It's like if somebody snubs you, you're being ignored. If someone greets you with a smile, should say smile, not very smile. I need to fix this. It is rude to snub that person. So if someone greets you with a should say friendly smile. I don't know why I put very. It is, but it's rude to snub that person. All right. Lax, lacking in rigor or strictness. It's an adjective. Kind of lazy if you think about it. Like languid. Languid was kind of like a similar word. The school, although, yeah, I would say that. The school's dress code was so lax that the students didn't even bother to follow it. It was just lacking strictness. They weren't really enforcing it. So lax, lacking in rigor or strictness. And metamorphosis, I'm sure you know this word from your science classes. It is a noun. It means a profound change in form, a transformation. Whenever Bruce Banner became angry, he endured a metamorphosis from a normal human being into the Incredible Hulk. Metamorphosis. That is a profound change. So those are your 10 regular vocab words. Our literary terms. Narrator is a speaker or character who tells a story. This affects the story's point of view, which directs the type and amount of information the writer reveals. So that is like, Odysseus was the narrator of the Odyssey. All right. Literal language. Literal language means language should be taken seriously exactly as it's written. This is language that uses words in their ordinary sense. What you say is what you mean. That is literal language. Opposite of that is figurative language. Figurative language is writing or speech that is not meant to be taken literally. Symbolic language. This is language used to create a vivid visual impression in the mind of the reader. So anytime you use a simile, a metaphor, or hyperbole, anything like that, that's an example of figurative language. Personification is a type of figurative language. When the author gives a non-human thing human-like qualities. For example, the storm screamed throughout the night. The storm, the wind screamed, or the rain danced against the pavement. It's just anytime you give it a non-human thing human-like qualities, that's going to be personification. And a symbol is anything that stands for something else. In addition to having its own meaning and reality, a symbol also represents abstract ideas. I think we're very good with symbols, and we've kind of touched upon them with our mythology unit. Like how the lightning bolt is kind of like a symbol for Zeus, and the trident is like a symbol for Poseidon. So different. You see symbols all throughout, culture in the world. All right, our Greek words or Latin Greek words. Hemi means half. Hemisphere, the biggest one you see. But anytime you see hemi, it's going to be half. Hep or hepta is 7. So if you see those in a word, it probably has something to do with 7. For example, heptarchy. I can't even say that word. Heptangular. There you go. Heptagon. It's like a 7-sided polygon. So here are words that use hep. Hex or hexa means 6. So obviously like hexagon, hexangular, hexapod, hexaglock. So if you see hex or hexa, it's going to be dealing with 6. Home means one and the same. One and the same. For example, homonym. Homonyms are words that sound the same, like there, and there. Homogeneous, homocentric. Okay, so home means one and the same. And then homie means man, as in homicide, homage, homo sapien, homicidal. So you see, actually, homo sapien probably belongs over at the other one. But anyways, you get homie means man. I would think homicide would be a good one to think about. So those are our words, and the review words are fortitude, obligation, homage, abhor, and clarity. These are words we've seen before, and they'll just be words that we'll include in our practices and possibly our quiz at the end of the week. Okay? All right, so that is, those are our words for the week. And let me now let's look at the, I'm going to refresh this. Let's look at the reading. If you ever open a tab, a module, and for some reason okay, I lost internet for a minute, so I don't know if that kept recording the whole time, but I got my internet back, so I apologize about that. All right, so I was going to go over this real quick with you with the English work packet. So actually with the reading. So you pull this up. And you'll see I just made it easy. It's the same assignment for all my classes today. And the first part, you're going to have the words right there, and there's just going to be a vocab practice activity right there. Just like things we've done before. First part is just basic matching the word with the definition. That way, you're just getting you to look at the words. And then got some sentences where you're using the words in a sentence. Okay, sorry, waiting for this thing to finish loading. Slowly but surely it's loading. I'm sorry. Give me a second. All right, is it going to let me do this now? I think so, possibly. Ugh. Hold on. Trying to get down to the story. Should not take this long for things to load. I would sing for you, but I don't have a good singing voice. Come on, man. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in this thing. Come on. Well, let's see. While I'm waiting for this to finish loading, don't forget I posted a test on Friday. So it was on the Odyssey and Vocab 6. So be sure you get that done. Let me know if you have problems with it. This thing, I'm getting ready to just refresh this. This is ridiculous. This should not take this long. All right, let's see if this will. All right, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what was going on there. So the reading is right here. And the questions are right there. And you could just do the reading and the questions right on that same page. I think the reading is probably going to be pretty straightforward. So just wanted to make sure you knew what to do and access it there. I guess what I could do real quick is I'll go ahead and read it out loud for anyone that wants that, and then it's up to you. I mean, if you want to read it on your own without me reading it out loud, you're more than welcome to. But I'll read it out loud just in case some of you want to hear that. So this takes place. It's called The Return Home, and this is where Odysseus finally gets back home, and it's after he's been stuck on the island with Calypso, and he finally gets away. If you didn't read the thing about Calypso, that was the previous one we did, and that is on Canvas also. So let me make this a little bigger for you, and then let's go. The Odyssey, The Return Home. After suffering such horrible challenges as Scylla and Charybdis, Odysseus is alone because all of his men have been killed by this point. To make a long story short, Odysseus does eventually acknowledge the fact that he is just a normal man in a world filled with greater and more powerful wonders than he. In other words, Odysseus is humbled, and the gods allow Odysseus to return home to Ithaca. However, Odysseus's problems are far from over when he gets back to Ithaca. He now must deal with greed and evil of man. Suitors are trying to force Penelope to remarry so they can take over the kingdom of Ithaca. But let's not be too hasty. Let's backtrack a few steps and see how Odysseus and his son Telemachus finally reunite. Back in Ithaca, Odysseus wakes to find a country that he doesn't recognize, for Athena has shrouded it in mist to conceal his true form while she plans his next move. This is after Odysseus has spoken to King Alcinous, and King Alcinous, gave him a ship to come back home. Athena, disguised as a shepherd, meets him and tells him that he is indeed in Ithaca. With characteristic cunning, Odysseus acts to conceal his identity from her until she reveals hers. Delighted by Odysseus's tricks, Athena announces that it is time for Odysseus to use his wits to punish the suitors. She tells him to hide out in the hut of his swineherd, Eumaeus. She informs him that Telemachus has gone in search of news of him and gives him the appearance of an old vagabond so that no one will recognize him. So a vagabond is just like an old beggar. Okay, so Odysseus is back, but he doesn't reveal immediately to everybody that he's back. So Athena transforms Odysseus's appearance into an old man, an old beggar. That way, people won't know, particularly the suitors, won't know that Odysseus is back, because Odysseus, he doesn't want the suitors to know he's back. He's got to figure out a plan, if you will, how to deal with the suitors. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, travels to Sparta, where she finds Telemachus. Remember, Telemachus is Odysseus' son. And Pisistratus, a lot of these names are hard to say, Nestor's son, asleep in Menelaus' palace. She appears to Telemachus in a dream and tells him that he must hurry home to Ithaca before the suitors succeed in winning his mother's hand. She also warns him of the ambush that they have set and explains how to avoid it. Finally, she instructs him to head first for the home of the swineherd Eumaeus, who will convey the news of his safe return to Penelope. The next day, Telemachus announces his departure and accepts gifts from Menelaus and Helen. As Telemachus pulls away from the palace in his chariot, an eagle carrying a goose stolen from a pen swoops down beside him. Helen interprets the incident as an omen that Odysseus is about to swoop down on his home and exact revenge on the suitors. Once at Pylos, Telemachus has Pisistratus drop him off at his ship, insisting that he has no time to spare to visit Nestor again. The ship is about to set off when Theoclymenus, a famous prophet's descendant who is fleeing prosecution for a crime of manslaughter that he committed in Argos, approaches Telemachus and asks him to come aboard. Telemachus welcomes him and offers him hospitality when they get to Ithaca. The next morning, Telemachus reaches the shores at Ithaca. He disembarks while the crew heads to the city by ship. He entrusts Theoclymenus, I can't say that name, to a loyal crewman, Piraeus. As they depart, they see a hawk fly by, carrying a dove in its talons, which Theoclymenus interprets as a favorable sign of the strength of Odysseus' house and line. When Telemachus reaches Eumaeus' hut, he finds the swineherd talking with a stranger, Odysseus in disguise. Eumaeus recounts Odysseus' story and suggests that the stranger stay with Telemachus at the palace, but Telemachus is afraid of what the suitors might do to them. Eumaeus thus goes to the palace alone to tell Penelope that her son has returned. When father and son are alone in the hut, Athena appears to Odysseus and calls him outside. When Odysseus re-enters the hut, his old man disguise is gone, and he stands in the pristine glory of this heroic person. At first, Telemachus cannot believe his eyes, but then the two embrace and weep. Telemachus squeals with joy. Daddy's back, Daddy's back. Odysseus recounts his trip to the Phaeacians and then begins plotting the overthrow of the suitors. He formulates a plan to launch a surprise attack from within the palace. Pretty similar to what Odysseus had done with the Trojan War, where, attacking from within the city. Odysseus will enter disguised as a beggar, and Telemachus will hide the palace's surplus arms where the suitors could not easily reach them. The two of them will then seize the arms and slaughter the suitors. So they have a game plan. So pretty much Odysseus is going to go into Ithaca in disguise as the old beggar with his son, but nobody will know it's Odysseus except for Eumaeus, the swineherd, one of Odysseus's helpers, and Telemachus. And what Telemachus is going to do while they're there is gather up all the spears and swords and hide them from the suitors, so that when when Odysseus and his son finally decide to launch an attack against the suitors, they will not have easy access to weapons. Before Eumaeus can give Penelope news of Telemachus's return, the messenger from the ship arrives and informs the entire palace that Telemachus has returned. The suitors, dejected that their plot has failed, huddled outside to plan their next move. Antinous, one of the head suitors, recommends putting Telemachus to death before he can call an assembly at which the suitors' dirty schemes can be aired. But Amphimus, one of the more thoughtful and well-behaved suitors, persuades the others to wait for a sign from the gods before doing anything so rash. So, pretty much this chapter, not a lot happens here. Something significant happens. Odysseus does return to Ithaca, and he does finally reunite with his son, Telemachus. But in regards to action, it's not much happens there in this chapter. It's all set up for what will eventually be a final showdown between Odysseus and the suitors. But this chapter does show how Odysseus is patient, and once again, he's using his wits and his mind to think out the problem. He's not just rushing in there trying to attack these suitors without a plan. Because if he just rushed in there, they'd be slaughtered. Numbered. So Odysseus and his son cannot take these suitors on by themselves without a plan. So they are formulating a plan, and they're going to stick to their plan. And Odysseus is going to keep his return a secret until the time is right. But there are signs. You see the images of the bird with what is it? Like a hawk flying with something in its talons. These people, like other people, are seeing these hawks and birds flying around, and they're taking it as a symbol that that Odysseus is either returning or is going to return. So there are some people that are looking at things that are happening as symbols of his return. But Penelope does not know that he's back yet. He has not revealed himself. And more importantly, the suitors don't know he's back yet. Okay, so what you need to do at this point is just go through and just take it question by question and do your best with it and submit it. And if you have questions about it, you can email me or you can ask me when in our Zoom on Tuesday. Don't forget that on Tuesday, the juniors are taking their ACTs, so only juniors are going to school on Tuesday. Okay, that means you will be doing a Zoom on Tuesday. All right. Well, guys, sorry I can't be there today. Sorry I'm not running a Zoom today, but be sure you just do the vocabulary and do the reading and questions, and you'll be good. And also fill out the Google form when I send it out to you. All right. Be sure you let me know if you have questions, and I will see you later. Bye.